All right, it is 11 o'clock Mountain Time, so we are going to go ahead and get started with our Power Hour. My name is Lindsay Rabeau. I am a one-star diamond coach, and I work full-time in marketing. I'm the vice president of marketing for a national pet food brand. And so what I like to talk about is how I take a marketing approach the way I do in my full-time job and bring it to what I do to grow my coaching business, in both looking for clients and potential coaches to do this alongside me. And then this is also how I teach new coaches to set up their marketing funnel, if you've ever heard that term. Okay. How's this going to go? I guess I have to do it with this. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is connecting. And connecting is the ability to identify with someone and relate to them in a way that increases your influence with them. And so if you've ever heard of marketing funnel, you start out at the top at awareness, and that's when somebody's just getting to know you. And then you build trust and you get them to like you. And that's the connecting. And then you invite them. And that is what makes them want to do what you are doing. And so some important reminders are, as we go through this funnel, it's really important to track where you are in a relationship with people, because there are so many people that you're going to be connecting with, and people can really fall through the cracks or fall through this funnel like a leaky bucket if you're not careful. And I don't know about you guys, but I get so frustrated when I find somebody that I forgot to write their name down, but I come across them at some point and I see in a message that we did all this connecting and then I never invited them because I just totally forgot about them. And it makes me so mad, because that, could have been a life helped, 6 months ago. They could be well into their journey, and because of my lack of organization, they fell through the cracks. And so I always try to make sure I'm very, very good at tracking someone. There's also no science to it, but I personally kind of like dating, I guess, that third date. I like to have 3 exchanges with somebody, just so that I've kind of been on a fact-finding mission. I've been getting to know their family, their occupation, their hobbies. And I'm always looking for that shared, oh my goodness, me too. As soon as I feel like I've had that me too moment with somebody, I feel like they're ready for me to invite them into my community. And then I always recommend to know what you are inviting to. So every day when I sit down, the very first thing I think through is what am I inviting to today? And it doesn't always have to be the full 140, 160 package, unless you're actively filling a challenge group. I also like to have free things that I am inviting to again, build that trust and knowledge. So whether that's a free group or maybe a PDF that I made in Canva or something like that, or we share and reapply a lot of things in the network. And so you could always give something like that away for free too. It's just something to establish that connection with them, so that your next challenge group, they're the person that is going to want a spot in that challenge group. Okay, so here's what this funnel looks like. It's going to start at the top, and what we're going to do is walk through this today. We're going to start at the top, and it's all about expanding your friendships and adding new friends, connecting at the top. And I'll give you some really concrete examples of what to do here. Then there's the invite, and then there's the follow-up. And you always want to have a really full funnel. And when I say that, what I mean is you always want to be putting people into the top. That way, when it gets to invite and you're on a power hour like this, you're not I don't have anybody to invite. I'm just going to sit here for 10 minutes. And so I'll show you what I do so that I make sure, if somebody tells me to go invite, I have a list that I go to of people that are ready to invite, and I'll help you set one of those up today. And yeah, so this, I'll put in the comments to a link to this presentation, because I just always think that this is a helpful picture to have. This was actually from Michael Folsom. And I literally have collections that I call expanding, inviting, follow-up, or I actually use Google Streak or in an Excel format to actually move people down a funnel. It's just so much easier in Excel, because you can just change the comment next to their name instead of having to move them in a collection. But it just depends on how you like to work. Okay, so here's where we're going to start to get into some like marketing frameworks. And so this is what I use every day in my corporate career. This is called the who, what, how fundamentals approach. And you always want to be thinking about, who are you talking to? Who is that coach that needs value from you? Or who are we coaching? Sorry, who needs value from you? And your challenger and your coach are going to be different. So like for me, my challengers are busy moms that show up for everybody else, but never for themselves. They always are canceling on themselves. But the coach that I'm going after, it's a slight difference. It's still that busy mom who's going to show up for everyone else and not themselves, but they're feeling really unappreciated at work. They show up every day, 9 to 5, and they just aren't getting the recognition that they think that they deserve. And it feels like time wasted that could have been with their kids. What are you offering that person that is unique and ownable? And again, this is going to be different for a challenger versus a coach. So maybe it's a morning routine that results in more time for themselves. Or for that mom that's feeling unappreciated, for my coach, it's a community where they're going to help others and feel that like instant recognition and feeling of importance. It's being able to be on a call like this, leading it. And this just makes me feel so appreciated, right? And so like we can do these from day one as a coach. And then the how is like tangibly, what is it that you offer? So to challengers, this would be not just another accountability group, but you're going to make it specific to what they need. So whether it's a paid group or a free group, that thing that you're inviting to. So like in my example, if it's a busy mom that never shows up for her own self, but you have a morning routine that she could do for an hour before she moves on to everyone else in her life, invite her to a free week where she learns from you what that exact routine is. Or if it's a coach that you're talking to who's feeling unappreciated at work, and you're going to tell her about this community of women where she can learn how to help others and feel like instant recognition, lead a group where you're going to actually have her jumping in and helping you post content from day one. So maybe it's a recipe share group or something like that. Again, these are all free things. We haven't really gotten to a challenge pack, but you're establishing those relationships and you're inviting with very low commitment. And that way you're not afraid to invite. And it's also really easy for someone to say yes. Okay, so now we're going to start working on this. So where will you meet people for the top of your funnel? And if you listen to the National Wake Up Call today, I thought that she did a really great job at talking about this. You want to meet people where you are already hanging out, where you are really passionate. So if you are a dog mom, you might hang out on different pages related to the type of breed of dog that you have or dog parks in the area. As a mom, I meet so many people who have geotagged into the local spots here in town, like the Butterfly Pavilion or the zoo or the local pool that everyone is a member of. So I want you to think about you as a person. What are your passions and things that you love talking about or visiting? And that is where I want you to think about finding people. And it doesn't just have to be on a local level. You could also do so, like my kids go to a Primrose daycare. Sometimes I'll go and interact with people at the national level that, go to any Primrose in the United States. So I'm just thinking about things where we're going to have a commonality so that I can connect with them over that, bring them to my page where they're going to then see my commitment to working out and what coaching has done for my life. But that's not what brought them to me. What brought them to me is something that we share. So think about this for a few minutes and think about one place where you can go right now on Instagram to connect with your ideal challenger and your ideal potential coach. And right now we're just kind of identifying what that spot is. So, the reason why I like to pick one is because you're going to write that down on your piece of paper today. And as you follow people and expand your network, we're going to see who follows you back. And then you'll know if that was a good one to do or not. So like if I go to the Butterfly Pavilion today and I follow, 10 women and meet 10 women there, and 9 of them follow me back, well, I'm going to know that it was because it was Butterfly Pavilion and I wasn't jumping all over Instagram. And so I will know that like, okay, that's a good one. I should check in here at least once a week, versus if I go there and I follow 10 people and 0 people follow me back, well, maybe I don't want to try that one again. The other thing I'll say is that a lot of times people do hashtags. They do geo targets. Those are my 2 favorite, because anyone who's using a hashtag or a geo target is public and you don't have to worry about weeding through for the private accounts versus public accounts. But I do know a lot of coaches also go to like other like influencer pages and connect with people who are following similar accounts to you. And I think that that's a great strategy too, except for that then you have to think through the private versus public. So what I will do in that case is, if I'm doing that, I'll do like, I'll follow up to 10 private accounts in hopes that they follow me back. But then I will go and find something that's public, either through a hashtag or a geotag, so that I'm also connecting with public accounts. Okay, so now we're going to spend the next 10 minutes meeting new people. So I want you to think about the place that you just identified of where your challenger is hanging out. We talked about the who, we talked about how that is you and them, and you're going to have something to connect with them over. So now I want you to go to that page, and I want you to find people to connect with. And this is why I like public accounts, because right away I can start to connect with them. And I use what's called the CLAM method. That is comment, like, add, message. So first I will see a picture of theirs that just naturally sparks with me, and I will comment on that picture. I will like that one and one other. And I try not to go too far back into timeline like I'm a creeper. Like I try to keep it in like the top 3 to 5 boxes. And then I add them to my tracker, or I add them as a friend. And then I message them. And so let's take, for example, I talked about the Butterfly Pavilion. So I'm here on this one. There's a cute picture of a man and a woman and their daughter, and she's got a butterfly shirt on it. So I'm going to comment on the picture and say like how much I love this place and how special it is that we've got this place in Colorado. I'm going to like the picture. And then I'm immediately going to go to her to message her. And I'm going to say, hey, I saw that you checked into the Butterfly Pavilion this weekend. I was there too. I'm a local mom. I've got 2 boys. How awesome is it that we've got like places like this in Colorado? Do you go there often, or do you have any recommendations for other really awesome places in the area where I could take my kids? I always like to ask a question and ask for advice. That way, right off the bat, they are seeing that like this is a relationship that I need them just as much as they need me. They don't even know they need me yet, but they're going to come to my page then and be like, hey, I want to check this girl out. She's a local mom. And then that's when they're going to see my content. And again, I like to do geotags and hashtags. That way everybody's public and I can do this right away. Get my 10. I try to get about 10 people in 10 minutes. Sometimes it can be faster than others, but just get as many done as possible. Another tip I like to give people is if you're going to be connecting with like Butterfly Pavilion and you want to move really fast, you're probably going to be sending relatively the same message to every single person. So one thing you can do is go into your camera and take a video of yourself. So here, I'll do it real quick. Make sure it's less than 15 seconds so Instagram can save it. Hey, I saw that you were at the Butterfly Pavilion. How awesome. We love taking our kids there. Huge question for you in favor. What other places other than the Butterfly Pavilion could I take my two boys to? Because it's getting hot and humid in there during the summer. So would love any advice you have. You then have that video on your phone and you can just send that video to 10 people. Because I made it specific, but not like overly specific. So as long as the person that I'm connecting with meets that basic framework, then that's a perfect video to just connect, connect, connect. Okay, awesome. So that was for challengers. Now we're going to do the same thing, but for coaches. So again, they should be a little bit different. Now, maybe you have a place that you just went where you were like on fire and you feel like there was challengers and coaches there, in which case, absolutely keep going. I for coaches really typically find my best people using hashtags, which I was skeptical of at first because you do have to really scroll through them and find the like other MLMers. But if you can find a really good hashtag for your niche, they can work out really well. So again, like mine's a working mom. And there's all sorts of prime hashtags that she's using, whether it's around the age of her child or time, like tired mama, too busy mama. There are just like, there's a couple of really good ones where I know she's using them. She's not looking at them. So me using it on my page is not necessarily going to help me find her because she's just using it ironically. Like in her caption, she's like, tired mama. She never goes to the hashtag to look at it, but she uses it in her caption. And so if I can see that, then I can go and connect with her. And you just get better at this one over time because you'll learn how to spot the content creators versus just the busy mom. And so I look for the picture that is like definitely not photoshopped, hasn't had like a filter, isn't like totally perfect. And that usually helps me hone in. I also look for moms who are like literally hiding behind their child because they want to be in the photo, but clearly there's a confidence block. And so on in that example, a lot of times that could be a really great coach because as they get that confidence, then they're going to want to share that with other people. And so that's kind of the beginning of their story. So anyway, those were some tips, but go ahead and go to where you feel like you could meet some coaches and connect with some potential coaches. Christina asked, so I track every single person I follow. I do. So I'm going to be honest, I have a virtual assistant who jumps in and helps me sometimes. And so if I didn't track every single person, then people would absolutely 100% fall through the cracks. But so like right now, because I'm talking and trying to work at the same time, I'm adding people to a collection that I just titled June 14th Prospects. And so I'm just saving them there real quick. And then I can go back later and add them into my Google Streak. But yes, I do add every single person. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's what I do. I just put the link to this PowerPoint, the template from Canva in the chat. So if you want to grab that. And then, yes, this is being recorded right now. And I do believe it gets uploaded and shared out by your uplines. So you should be able to get the recording of it as well. So I will also upload this to YouTube. A couple of people are just asking if they could get a copy of this Power Hour on video. So in case it's not shared, I just put my IG handle. If you want to DM me, I'll give you the YouTube link because I will upload this to YouTube. Okay, so now we are going to keep moving. So we did the expand, which is the awareness part of that funnel. Now we want to move into connecting and building trust. So we want to just be social on social, but we need to do it in an organized fashion. So what I like to do here is I go and connect with people who have followed me recently. And so the way to do that, in case you don't know, is, let me get out of my story archives. Okay. If you go to your followers, they are, well, they're actually in order. So that was really easy, but you can see, so I like to look for people who have a blue follow next to their name, because that means they're following me, but I'm not following them back. And so that probably means I've never connected with them because they came to me through a reel or something like that. And so what I will do is I will just go to anyone that is somebody like that. And if it's a private account, I go straight to message and I send them a message that's just like, hey, thanks for following me. I wanted to introduce myself. My name's Lindsay. I'm a working mom of 2. How about you? Or if they're public, then I do that same comment, like, add message. And so, yeah, spend 10 minutes connecting with people who are new followers or liked a post that you did recently. And really what I am thinking here is that I'm on a fact-finding mission and being a detective. I want to see if they need what I have to offer. And so, or if we've got something to connect over. And I'm always trying to ask questions. And like I said earlier, ask for advice so that it is a two-way street and it's not just only me giving them what I have. Another tip that will make this go faster is if you have a business account on Instagram, you can do saved replies. The way you do that is when you go into a message with someone, there's like a black plus sign and you hit that. And then you guys can't see my phone, but it brings out these like little options here at the bottom. And there's like a quote box with a ... those are quick replies that you can save. And so I save like all my like most popular invites, and I save my like, hi, I'm Lindsay. This is who I am. Who are you? And so I can just do it really fast. It's called a saved reply. So in case my tutorial was not good, you can Google how to do a saved reply on Instagram. One last tip I'll give here is while you're connecting, especially if you're doing a lot of reels right now and getting, followers that are not all great, right? They're kind of like hit or miss. You might see that you've got a lot of people from other companies that are following you. I don't necessarily discount them. So if they sell Monat, or if they sell even Arbonne, or some of the others that, doTERRA, those are actually some of my best clients, because they get what it is that I do. They are clearly into bettering themselves. And so, yeah, maybe they're not going to be a coach, but they can be a really great client, and they can really add to my challenge groups. And so just don't discount people just because they're in another company. Creator accounts can do saved replies as well. Okay, cool. I did not know that. Yeah, so Lauren asked, do I schedule separate time that you go back and connect with people you put into your collections? So basically, this is where it will build upon itself. So everybody today that I put into the June 14th prospect collection, tomorrow that becomes the June 15th connect and build trust. And then at the end of this week, those are all people that I invite. So I try to, within 5 to 7 days, take you from having just met you through to inviting you. So you can either do it with pen and paper, you can do it in an Excel sheet, you can do it in a collection. But that's why it's really important to have kind of like the date and where you met them all together, so that you're kind of keeping people together in a cluster, and helping to move them through. So that's how I do it. I think you could also just as easily do kind of like just met, becoming friends, ready to invite, invited, followed up. But you just kind of have to figure out what that is for you. But like tomorrow, I'll have no problem connecting because I can just go straight to my collection from today to connect with people tomorrow. I do personally keep track in Google Streak because I have a virtual assistant and I need a place where the both of us can be in one document. But for coaches, potential coaches, I do those in a collection because that's just me doing that on my own. And so I do that in my collections. I mean, I think really, even if I had a virtual assistant, she could see my collections, I think, if she's logged into my account. But anyway, that's the way we do it. But yeah, I think you could do either one. I'm a spreadsheet girl, so I really like spreadsheets. I do message people who are following me and I have no idea who they are. Because of the way I connect with people through like geo targets or through shared places, it usually will say like that we're both following somebody in common. And so I'll kind of know where they came to me about, or I'll just ask them. Yeah, I'll kind of just like message and be like, hey, thanks for the follow. You know, I don't know how I would get there, but I'm clearly not an improv person. But yeah, basically just ask like, what brought you here or whatever, however you want to do it in your voice. Okay, so now we are going to invite. And what I do every Monday is I spend 10 minutes creating my ready to invite list. And this is, I try to have it be 100 people. So I go through and I think about people that I connected with last week. So if there's anybody that are in any of my like random collections from last week that I want to kind of like move them to a singular place and get rid of those ones and put them all in one. Or if I'm in my spreadsheet, these are people that I've been connecting with for a while and for whatever reason, I just haven't invited them. I will move them all on Monday to a ready to invite list. And then this way, every single day, I can invite 10 people from that list and I don't have to like fret about who I'm going to invite. I just know I need to go to that list that I created on Monday and check off the next 10 people. And if I come across them and I'm like, oh, they should be ready to invite, but I just don't feel like they are yet, then I can leave them there for a few more days, but they're on the list and I've connected with them and I can come back. So what I want you to do right now is we're going to start to make this list for the week. And maybe you won't get to all 100 in this 10 minutes because this is your first time doing it, but at least you'll get 10 people on this list. And you can come back to it and add to it later today. So these are the places I want you to go look. Anybody that you were connecting with last week that you've had some dialogue back and forth with, they could be ready to invite. Go to your stories. You can go into your story archive by hitting on like the little hamburger button up at the top. You can go to archive. And Instagram now lets you go back in time further than they used to and actually see who saw your post. So let's see, I had on June 12th, which was Saturday, I had 300 people who watched this story. I did not connect with all of them. So I'm going to go through there and see who's there that might be ready to add to the ready to invite. Because why? If they were watching Saturday, they probably also watched yesterday. And I had 2 call to actions this week about a group I started this week that they didn't take me up on, but they watched those stories. And so now maybe they just need the personal touch of me in the inbox saying like, hey, I don't know. Never say like, hey, you were watching my stories. I don't anyway, because I would hate it if somebody said that to me, but I say like, hey, I don't know if you saw, but this weekend in my stories, I talked about how I'm kicking off this 3-week intensive to get us to July 4th. there's so much fire and passion in this group. Like we are all going to slay our goals. I can just tell. I just thought I would reach out to you since we were chatting lately and extend an invite to you. Do you want to jump in with us? It's not too late. So anyway, create your list of people, or frankly, if you're on a roll and you want to just go ahead and invite them, go ahead and invite them now. Another tip on stories, I don't know if this is like actually true or not. So if it's not, no need to fact check me. But I always find that the people at the bottom of the viewers are the people that I haven't interacted with as much. And so a lot of times, instead of starting from the top and going down and getting like saddened by the fact that I've got like so many people who just watch me nonstop and then like are ghosts, and that is frustrating. Instead, I'll go all the way to the bottom where people seem to be fresher connections, and work my way up. Also, while you're going through your stories, you might find that you've got a lot of people that you're not ready to invite them, but you could add them to a watching stories collection. Or like, you know, how I said, like you've got like just becoming friends, connecting. You could have a watching stories because that's part of building trust. You're adding value to them. You know, if they're watching your stories, you are adding so much value to their lives that you should have no problem inviting them in the next couple of days because they are watching your stories, even if they've not written you back. Like you are having a relationship with them, even though it's a little one-sided. Okay, so now we're going to start inviting. And I want you to invite to coaching first because that's harder. And so what I like to do with people that I'm inviting to coaching is I like to really understand what about the business would interest them. And I make sure I customize it from that angle. So I've got kind of like a go-to coaching invite for the community, for the accountability, or for the business. And depending on what it is I think the person is the most interested in, I'll tailor it to them that way. For the most part, my invites are all about the accountability because that was my story. I never showed up for myself until I started showing up for other people as a coach. And so that's usually how I lead it. So anyway, I at least try to find 2 people right now to invite to coaching. And this is my Achilles heel. And so I'm going to do it with you. And I know we're almost out of time. So the next one is 10 minutes of inviting challengers. I'm cool to stay here and go over a few minutes. I did spend time at the beginning, like teaching. So if you need to drop off, no worries. But we're going to invite to coaching and then invite to a challenge group. And if you can see this and want to screenshot it, here are some example invites. Okay, so it is noon. If you need to jump off, I'm gonna stay on for a few more minutes and do the 10 minutes of inviting people to a group. So if you need to jump off, thank you so much for being here today. The last thing I just wanted to say, as I was going through and connecting and things today, there was things that just made me like smile and chuckle. And if when you're connecting with people, if you don't feel that way, you haven't found your niche. Like if you found your person as you're connecting with them, it should brighten your day just as much as like you potentially reaching out to them could help their day. And so if you feel like connecting is a drag, it probably is because you're just not connecting with the right people yet, and keep looking to find your niche. Okay, so inviting people to a group. This is where, what I always like to do is like, there's like 1 week out of every month where I am filling a challenge group. I'm actually in that week right now. And I'm adding scarcity in my stories, saying like there's 5 spots left, et cetera. And so right now, I would be reaching out to people, inviting them to the 140 summer challenge, because this is like the best price until Black Friday. We've got Amale's program coming out next month. Like this is an awesome time to join. So I'm like going hard after the actual invite. Every other week during the month though, I am inviting to a webinar that I've already recorded that I can send them a link to, or a free group on Facebook, or just seeing if I can add value into their lives with like a really easy meal plan or some sample workouts to try. And so I do count all of those as invites. And what I do is if I invite them to something like that, then I put them into a next group collection or tracker on my streak in like next group, so that anybody that I invite to something throughout the week or throughout the month, when I go into the week where I'm inviting to fill a group, I go to all of the people who I've given a freebie, and they stay in that collection until they join me for the 140. So this or 160. So this collection grows and grows and grows over time. And I just keep going back every month to the next group tab. And that's how I fill my challenge groups. I like inviting to free things because I still get really nervous about inviting. And it's hard for me to invite every single day of the month, like if I'm not inviting to something like a group. And so I either try to have like a lot of challenge groups that I start, like maybe I'll start one every Monday if I want, to do a paid one. But my goal is always to be SC10 by the 10th. And so I try to have my groups start, like I had a group starting, well, it was supposed to start regardless. Most months today would have been my month to start it. I went on vacation, so I bumped it back a week. But then I can hit SE10 at the front of the month and be done with it, and then really work on recruiting coaches for the back half of the month. Shannon, I don't know if you're still on, but do I do it through email then? I don't know what. I don't know what that means. Oh, instead of PMs. Yeah, so my invite is always starts in DM or PM. And I will say, like, I'll invite them. And then they say, yeah, sure, I'll take some information. And then I say, awesome, I would love to send you the full details with a couple of links. Could I get your email address? And then I ask them, and also, what would you say is the thing that derails your excellent progress or like derails you once you start hitting momentum? Is it workouts? Is it nutrition? Is it consistency? Or is it all of the above? And then that way, whatever they write me back with their email address, I can tailor my email to them. But yeah, I do it in email. I know that doesn't work for everybody. I've tried a lot of different ways. Like I've tried like a link on my website. I've tried a PDF. For me, the email is what converts the best. So. All right. And then the final 10 minutes, which again, we're not going to do right now because I am a talker, but success is in the follow-up. And follow-ups really, really, really are critical. I don't know about you, but I'm such a busy person that so often I think I responded and I didn't. And so if I, as the Beachbody coach, took a no response as that person ghosted me and they don't care about me, that would be making up a story when in fact it could be that they responded in their head, but they didn't actually respond. And so my follow-up could be the exact thing that they need. And so definitely make sure that you follow up with people. Typically what I do is if I invite somebody, I will then follow up with them 3 times. And if they are ghosting me still, then I move them back into a connecting tab. And I don't invite them for at least another month. Or I will go back to them and be like, hey, clearly it's not the right time for you to invest in the group with me, but would you like to try out this free thing? And then that is also another way that I can kind of keep the door open. All right. Well, that was all I had for today. I am going to save this. And like I said, I dropped my Instagram handle. So if you want to reach out to me, I can get you the recording for you to share with your teams. I'm glad this was helpful. If nothing else, grab the slides out of the chat because I made sure that my comments were self-explanatory. All right. Thank you guys so much and have a wonderful day.